board meetings coming up that I'd like to share it with.
Okay, I'm hoping that Julia will come on. I did hear from Brandon and he would not be coming. Let's see here, who's all on? I'm gonna open this up a little further. Okay, got a good group. Well, I think we should get started. Let's just do that. And let's start out, since we do have a fairly small group and some folks are newer. I just want to make sure that everybody knows one another. So I'm going to just go around my little box here, and we'll start with Nicole, if you don't mind introducing yourself. Sorry, I didn't mean to put you on the spot.
Nope, that's okay. So I'm Nicole Klosner. I'm 9 days in with the ECRTCC, working on the climate and energy stuff. But it's been a lot, but I'm getting to know everyone in the office and really enjoying it so far.
Well, welcome, Nicole. Yeah, I'd like to learn more about what it is that you're working on and how transportation could correlate with that, and, you know, how we can work together on some things.
Yeah, for sure.
Bob?
I had to unmute myself there. Bob Boss, I'm the executive director at the ECRTCC and more there. So welcome, everybody.
He's Nicole and my boss. Bob Boss, the boss. Tammy, hi again.
Oh, hi, I'm Tammy Seelan. I'm the Volunteer Driver Program Manager at TriCap.
Thanks for being here. Marlis?
Yeah, good morning, Marlis Dunn from Chisago County. I'm here with a couple of hats. I am a county commissioner. I'm also a board member of the Chisago Lakes Good Neighbors Club and part of the Chisago Lakes Chamber.
Excellent, good to have you here. Hi, Tim.
Hey, good morning. Tim Schmutzer from Phase Industries. We're a nonprofit provider of transportation, day and employment supports for students and adults with disabilities in East Central Minnesota. And I'm also involved with the Minnesota work groups on increasing transportation access across the state, and our state trade association more, and working continuous work for the last 6 years in devising and revising the formulas for determining accurate transportation rates for waiver transportation.
Oh, thank you. Hi, Natalie.
Hello. Natalie can you hear me? Okay.
Yep.
Natalie Mathewson. I'm with Central Minnesota Council on Aging, the Community Development Supervisor. I work with our whole team, but I also work in our 5 Eastern counties. And one of the things that we do, especially right now this time of year, is we work with people on offering technical assistance and guidance when there are state grants out. And in fact, Nicole, I'm meeting with you this afternoon to talk about some things. Excited about that. And so our development team, we're about just really engaging and helping to fill those gaps in services and supports for older adults and caregivers. Part of that is talking to people throughout the year, and especially during open RFP time when there are state grants out. For example, the Livable at Home grant is out right now. The dementia grant is out right now. And coming up in the summer, we'll have the age friendly grant. So if there's anybody, I know we just a group of us in Kanabec County just worked on a grant and submitted it. So I love the collaboration when that happens. So that's what I do. And I just got a call that I actually have to be in Mora in about 30 minutes. So I'll probably switch to my phone midway. So I don't want to make it look like I'm leaving too early, but so.
Okay, thank you, Natalie. I've got a quick question before you leave. When will we know whether or not, or maybe you wouldn't know this, with the AARP grant? Do you know when they'll let us know whether or not we're even, in the running?
It's usually at least a month or so. So you might get some, because it was turned in
on the
First
6th.
week in March, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So they usually start talking to you in April, but for sure by May, because I think they start, May 1st. So you'll probably in April start looking for it. So
Very
Any-
excited. It's only been less than a week and I'm already ready to hear one way or the other.
yeah, with it being a national grant, what did they get, like 3,000 something like that?
I
So
suppose.
it takes a bit to find out about it, but knowing that usually they want the funding done by the end of the year, they try to do a pretty decent turnaround time to let people know, but it's at least a month. Yeah. Before you leave.
Okay. Okay, great. Thank
Okay.
you.
Uh-huh.
You're a wealth of knowledge. You're wonderful. Thank you. Well, Helen, you're up next.
Morning, everybody. I'm Helen Piper. I'm with Kennebunk County Timber Trails. We do public transit bus service. We have a few volunteer drivers, and we are trying to roll out some assisted transport service. And when we get to the service updates, I'll give you some more information on that.
Excellent. Thank you, Helen. Michelle, hello. That's you. Michelle Lichtig.
Okay, with two Michelles, it's it takes a while to figure out which one. And actually, I don't know if you guys are Jeopardy people, but Michelle was a Jeopardy question the other day. So there you go. I went from a not very common name. I'm Michelle Lichtig, and I am the coordinator for mobility managers at MnDOT.
Glad you're here. And Michelle Thomas is in Mexico, so lucky her. All right, let's see, Kathy Bursky.
Good morning. I'm Kathy Bursky, Kennebunk County Community Health. I am the director here, technically over transit, although we all know Helen runs the show. And I do need to leave for another meeting just shortly before 10, so I apologize for that.
Well, good to have you, Kathy. Thank you. Let's see, Barbara Willard. Hi.
Hello, I am Barbara Willard. I'm the Director of Transportation for TRICAP and on the public bus side.
Thank you for being here.
Mhm.
Sandra. You're unmuted, so. Sandra, are you there? Shoot. Well, we can come back to her. Sandra, when you're ready, just pop on. Melissa?
Good morning, Melissa Maringo with MTM. I am the transportation manager.
Nice to have you, Melissa. Thank you.
Thanks.
And then we have somebody who's on the phone, 612-799-8255. Well, all right. Well, I think Sandra's getting connected. And Sandra was at that Arrowhead meeting, I believe, Marlis, right? So she might have some insight as to whether or not that was recorded or not. All right. Well, I'm gonna move you guys. Well, I think I can leave you where you are. Let's see. Well, all right. So we didn't do our call to order. I'm sorry. We're so informal here, and I'm hoping you're all okay with that. But Tim is our chair, and why don't you just go ahead, Tim?
Calling the meeting to order.
Thank you. At least we got that right here. Okay, so as you'll see in the top corner, the January 11th meeting is a link so that you could go back into that agenda or that the agenda, and the Zoom video is there as well as a link, and you can take a look, and if you're looking for anything in particular from that meeting, you can find it. So Well, let's see. We have somebody, 719-332-5883. That might be,
It's me. It's Natalie.
okay. I was thinking it was probably you. Okay, Natalie, thanks. All right. So as we're talking here, if you wouldn't mind, putting your name and maybe, your email address into the chat so that a person could then do, save the chat. I think that's a possibility. So that we'll all have our, contact information. It's also on the top of your emails as well, because I know everybody on the list is on the emails, that go out for me. All right, I just want to do some updates with you and just interrupt me, whatever, raise your hand or however you feel comfortable if you have any questions. We just applied for an AARP Community Challenge flagship grant on March 6th. And what that's about is to do some outreach for the new assisted transportation service that is happening in Caneva County. And that service, and I know Helen and Kathy will talk about it further, but in Caneva County, Timber Trails covers Mora, and then 10 miles outside of the border of the city of Mora. Timber Trails covers that with their bus service, and they're really, really good at that. But outside of that area, there is nothing. So what this assisted transportation service will do is cover all of that. And so it's for the rural folks. And there's some more details to it than that, but we want to really promote it in many different ways. And so we applied for this grant to help us with the outreach for that. And I think if this program works, that we could then take it and utilize it in different areas like Mille Lacs County, in particular, up in the rural areas of Mille Lacs County. So I think it's a great pilot program. I'm really excited for Helen to talk further about that. The next thing on the list here is we also, I don't know if you want to call it applied, but we sent in information to be considered for this initiative from the University of Minnesota Extension, and the title of that is called Empowering Small Minnesota Communities. And it's for small communities of 15,000 or less. So we had to pick one. And what we're trying to do with that is to make a compelling case for the destination transfer stations. And we're really focusing, and I'm sorry that we're focusing so much on Caneva County, but we're kind of focusing more there because they're right in the middle of our region, where you've got TriCap connecting and you've got Arrowhead connecting, Timber Trails right there. And so that's where our focus is for the discovery, or we're trying to, we need somebody to help us to really come up with why we need this. And so with these University of Minnesota students coming in, they would be able to do more meetings with maybe what do you want to call, gosh, now townships and such, and just to make sure that we're on the right track, and we want to make a case for this. So that's what that one's about. I'm really excited to hear more about that. Hopefully they seem very interested. And the fellow said, we talked to like 3 different people. We got to the top of the list of the people, and his name is Kyle, and he said that he's very interested in this, and whether or not we get the grant, he's got somebody he feels would be interested in helping us with this, along with a couple students. So I think we're right along the road to getting something really well done. The NLX Alliance, the Northern Lights Express Alliance, came to our ECRDC commissioner board meeting last month in the end of February, and they presented there and answered questions, because I know there's a lot of talk going on about the NLX, and we're trying to make sure that people get the answers that they're looking for. Oh, Marlis, why don't you chime in here?
Yeah, I had a question regarding the U of M extension survey. Is there any kind of like definition of what they consider small, population wise?
15,000
Okay, thank you.
or less. Yeah, and so when we looked at Mora, well, it's you know, that whole area there got to be a little bit bigger, but when you look at those people who use transit, then it comes down. So we explained all of that in there, and hopefully if they have questions, they'll come back to us and talk to us about it. In any case, so the NLX Alliance, like I said, they came and spoke. So that was a great meeting, because I know a lot of the commissioners on the board are wondering, you know, have a lot of questions about it. And furthermore, we have also now set up a meeting with MnDOT, Office of Rail or Passenger Rail, to come and talk at our next ECRTCC meeting, this advisory board meeting on May 9th. And that will be an in-person meeting and Zoom at the RDC office at 10:30, and then we'll have lunch afterwards. So get us back together if you are interested in coming, but it's going to focus on the NLX, and we're going to be getting to the actual people who are in charge of this whole thing, and it'll be a good meeting to come and ask questions. It's not necessarily open to the public. We are sending out invitations. You, of course, are all invited. And we're also inviting people who are along the line, and commissioners and staff people, and of those kind of the representatives of the people who live there. There's concerns that, you know, what happens if it derails, and, you know, how fast is it going to go, where are the stops going to be, and all of that. And we'll get all that information at that meeting. So it'll start at 10:30, go to about 11:30 or so, and then we'll have, I'm going to make the wild rice soup that everybody seems to like. So if that can be enticing, I'd love for you to come. So, yeah, so you'll be getting invitations in the mail, but right now, Ann Lynch at MnDOT's got the invitation, but she's editing it, because we're hosting it, but it's their meeting, you know, so they got to make sure everything, all the I's and dots and T's are crossed and everything. Any questions about anything there? Well, Tina, you came on a little late, so let me ask you to introduce yourself, please, if you would.
Yeah, hi Karen. Sorry, I was in another meeting. Tina Neary with MnDOT. I'm a transit project manager, covering the Northeast, Central, and temporarily the Northwest part of the state.
Thank you. I think we lost Sandra, and I'm kind of bummed about that. I really wanted her to be at the meeting. She's part of Arrowhead Transit, and she covers Isanti and Chisago counties. Maybe she'll get a chance to pop on. I'm gonna quick take a look at my, nope, I didn't get a message from her. Okay. Okay, all right, let's move on then. And thank you for putting all that information into the chat. I'm hoping that people are able to grab that and keep that information. So, Rhonda let me know that she wouldn't be here today, but Barbara's here. So would you mind, Barbara, would you mind giving us an update on what's happening with TRICAP transit bus services?
Sure. Well, just like everyone else, we're having bus issues, bus shortages. We have approximately 2/3 of our buses are over their mileage, replacement mileage. And as you know, that's an issue with every single agency, so I'm not alone, but we recently had 2 buses that needed new transmissions, and another bus that needed some major repair. Long story short, that has forced us to discontinue a route temporarily. It looks like it'll be, we started this March 1st, and hopefully by the middle of April, we should have a working bus on the road to cover that route, but it is the route between Malacca and Elk River. So that is temporarily closed until we get another bus up and running to run that route. So there's that. And then just kind of an update in regards to our, we got a technology grant through MnDOT. We haven't actually received the dollars yet, but hopefully soon we'll be able to move forward with our customer portal project, which means that customers will be able, or clients will be able to go in, put in their contact information, and then indicate that they'd like a ride at this time going to this place, and then we can schedule it and then let them know via email when their ride is scheduled, if we were able to get it scheduled, and when it would be scheduled. So we're really looking forward to that. That is an add-on to our Novus software, and hopefully if things kind of go as planned, we should have that functionality up and running by September. So
That's excellent.
yeah, so that's what
Now,
I have.
is that a step in the direction of possibly getting into doing, you know, the full scheduling on the phone kind of thing?
Yes. Yep.
Excellent. That's awesome. I'm also wondering now with this software, is it a software that other transit providers use that possibly then would be able to connect with other providers?
Not that I know of, Karen. If it is, I'm not aware of that functionality. There are a couple of agencies that do use Novus and actually have started with the customer portal. So
Okay.
like I said, for us, it's just a matter of customer or client convenience and building efficiency for us. I mean, that's
Yeah.
one less call, one less, it's moving us to the direction of being able to self-schedule. So
Great. So with your 5310 buses, do you have any buses on order that haven't come yet, or?
So we are awaiting 2 buses. So we did get 4 new buses in January, which has been a godsend, thank heavens. But we are waiting on 2 more buses that were supposed to be coming in March. Now they're saying possibly could be April. So not sure exactly where we're at with that, but the new buses that we got in January, quite frankly, were just kind of ticking off. They replaced other buses that were no longer functional. So we're kind of doing a triage here with our buses, just like everyone else, and doing the
Well,
best
you
we
know,
can.
I just wanted to mention that I did go on your website and I did see that you have that all up to date about the Elk River route. And I really appreciated that because you're on top of it and it's good to be able to find that out easily. Thank you.
Yeah, it wasn't an easy decision, but you got to do what you have to do. So
Yeah, it's understandable. Marlis.
Yeah, I was just curious to know. So I was recently reading about the MnDOT minivan grant that's out there right now. I was just curious to know if TRICAP or any other organization is pursuing that, and if that would be an option for the shortage of their buses.
well, we're 5311, so hopefully that'll be an option next year, because I believe it's just 5310 this year, correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah.
The 5310 program is different than 5311 public transit. And so this is kind of being done as a pilot project, but they are looking at if transit systems have the reserve account funds and are able to pay outright 100% for a van, we are looking at trying to make that possible. So we have had some transit systems say they would like to do something like this. And so we're just gathering more information from those transit systems.
Okay. Well, our intention is to to do, have the, apply for the van option next year, so.
That's wonderful. Oh, great. Okay, I was going to ask that question as well, and I'm glad that it's out there. And I think as we go through everybody here, it might be nice to hear, you know, others. And if we can be of any assistance with that, please ask. I mean, we've got our connections with MnDOT here. Okay, Barbara. Well, thank you very much. Tammy, do you want to go next since you're kind of with the same system?
Sure. So the volunteer driver program still moving forward. We have gotten a couple more new volunteers. I think we're up to 34 now. We did get vans. So we bought 3 vans. Our intention is to use them with volunteers with no kind of reimbursement attached. Having difficulty with that. So far vans are kind of just sitting outside. I'm really trying to find a way to offer some kind of stipend or some kind of a gift card or something that I could give to volunteer drivers who would drive those vans and say, for instance, like a 3-hour shift. I have in our ads 2 hours preferred, but I'd like to have more because by the time they get here, get them on the road. So then offer something just nominal, like a $20 or $25 gift card or something for them. I do have people who call and take the mileage and use their own vehicles. They say they would do it, but they'd like to just get a little something. A lot of our drivers are seniors, and they all would like a little extra compensation, say for groceries or whatever in tight times like this. So I'm really working on trying to figure out a way we can do that. I was told I will not be able to do a stipend and I will not be able to do gift cards. I don't know, I'm trying to work around it. I'm trying to figure out any options so I could get them something. So if anybody has any ideas, shoot them at me. I just keep going back and asking again. I have no problem doing that.
Tammy, it's Natalie.
Hi, Natalie.
Have you and Michelle touched base anymore about the Livable at Home grant that's out now? I know that you guys had looked at it last year, but you know, with the seniors that you work with, I definitely would take a look at it. And if you haven't set anything up with Michelle, maybe then we can maybe. I'm going to see her today. We're presenting together. Maybe we can schedule a time to space with you if you haven't already delved into that grant.
Yeah, I emailed her yesterday to set up another appointment. I had to cancel our last one for a family emergency, but yeah, I was going to talk to her because that is like that's the next thing I'm going to get into too, because that might fall into this. I'm just starting to work on self-pay rides. So we do self-pay rides with our volunteer drivers, and it's 89 cents per mile from the driver's home for the ride, nothing for the wait time. We used to get about 1 or 2 people doing a self-pay every month. And on January, we had 19, and in February, we had 20. And I believe we're at 20 already for this month. So our self-pays have really been increasing. But there's people who can't afford that, like especially if they're going like to the cities. And so I'm trying to put together a plan right now so we can use some of our budget and help in subsidize the ride. So maybe they can pay part of it and we can pay part of it. It's just something I'm putting together now to try to help the people who just can't afford that 89 cents a mile. So I'm just actually working on that right now. Hopefully get that going really soon. Yeah, so that's the couple things I'm working on and my challenges.
Okay, good to know. Well, with that, I think we could move into talk. Oh,
I'm just wondering, I'm sorry, I can't figure out, I can't get the little hand raiser up here. Tammy and Karen, and maybe these are conversations you've already had, and so I'll step back if that's the case. Just thinking about how other mobility management projects started to roll out the very thing that you're doing in lessons learned and so forth. And so that's one thing I'd love to have you have those conversations. And I'll talk to Karen afterwards and we'll pull it together. But Alan Herman, who works with a program that's metro, but part of some of his counties are very somewhat rural. And some lessons that he's learned in the very situation that you're talking about. And then Terry Smith in mid-Minnesota, likewise, right now, they have some vehicles that volunteer drivers can use, and they're sort of at their beginning stages. What Alan learned is that the people that were interested in driving the vans may not be the cohort that are currently driving. So they found a much younger group of people who were interested in driving because they didn't want to drive their own car. And so they didn't know that or realize that, and then that kind of switched up some of their marketing. So that might be just, just talking to him about that. What Terry is doing in his community is some of the same challenges that you have. How can you still provide that support for the volunteer, even though you're not reimbursing them? And I think he may be working like with his Chamber of Commerce or Lions Club so that they can put together, and I'm sure maybe you thought about this.
I have talked to him already. Yeah.
Okay, good. Great. I'm glad. Yeah. And I don't know if Terry shared with you, he's been in situations where they put the van in parades and at different type of community fairs, and they'll take, I don't know what they call, like that little soap stuff that you can put on the windows, like you can be a volunteer driver. I mean, you might check in with Terry and see how he does some of that. But he was recently at a conference and where they could bring, and this is pretty unique, it was the Lions Club, where they could bring the vehicle into a convention center, and then that generated some conversation. It's a different type of a lift, and I get where you're at, because you have the volunteers, your vehicle, and now if you could just kind of mesh it all together.
Yeah, one thing, we have the vans and we have to turn back rides because we don't have enough availability in the afternoons, and it's mostly for just in our St. Cloud area. One of the things I proposed was actually having a person on staff that could drive our van. I did talk to like Tom Gottfried and talking to people, and his suggestion was, because I said, well, they're not letting me because they say if it's not a volunteer driver program, if we pay them. But like his point was, well, they pay you, they pay your staff, they pay your rides clerks. Why can't you have someone to take the rides that you don't have volunteers for? So I'm still trying to work on that. They didn't really go for that, but I'm still going to try to work on that, because if they just could take the rides, we can get some people to their appointments. They're like 3-hour waits. So we could get them to the appointments. What we really need is to get them back home again. And it's all from the same place. So we could just go there with a van and then bring back everybody. And then it's actually very cost effective for us. So I'm hoping that maybe someday they'll let me just do that. Yeah. I don't know.
And I really appreciate, and this is a really good conversation, because in the sense that when we talk about how challenging it is to fill the gaps, you took care of 50% of the problem. You got the vehicles. I mean, that's the hard part. And yep. It's a chicken egg thing. What do you do first? Do you get the volunteers, or do you get it? Yeah. So I think it is getting the vehicles first and then growing the program, exactly the order that you're struggling with.
Yeah. And I do have advertising. So my previous advertising was kind of more for the mileage, but now we have advertising coming out in the St. Joe paper and Sartell paper. There isn't really a good option in St. Cloud, so I've been putting up banners, but that is just strictly to drive our vans and letting them know that we have the vans here. So hopefully, you never know. Sometimes nothing happens, and then I get a whole bunch of calls at one time. So just really hoping to get those vans out on the road.
Thanks. Good luck.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah, and I of course am most interested in Mille Lacs County and what's happening over there, and how we can reach more of those folks in the rural areas of Mille Lacs County. But you and Barbara and I are having a meeting here coming up, so I'm looking forward to talking to you further about that.
Yeah, I am too.
Thank you. Ellen, you want to start talking a little bit about your new program and what's going on with Timber Trails?
Sure. So we do have a new bus coming. As was pointed out with TRICAP, our 100% of our fleet is now considered outdated or, past its prime. So we've got a new bus. It's in state. It's been inspected. They found something they're trying to figure out. We hope to have that on property here sometime, maybe later this week or next week, which will help. The bus shortage thing is huge, and I think that for some rural areas, I think that those vans, like what they're doing through the 5310, I do think that that's going to be a solution, even for timber trails here. Not necessarily to switch all of the fleet over, but to have one or two of them, of that lower capacity vehicles available. So that's what we're doing with public transit. On our assisted transportation, this is funded through CMCOA. It is for 60 and over. It is for people outside the public transit service area. So we've got areas in northern Kennebec and also over on the west side of 47 as it goes north from Ogilvie is outside our transit area. And we've had some calls in the past from that area. We have a couple of people that we talk to that are interested in it. One is a couple, both of them are in their 90s and they're living out in that northern area. So we're hoping really hard that their daughter called in and she wanted to talk to him some more about it. But we're hoping the biggest concern that we have and why that AARP grant is so important is, how do we reach these folks out there? We know they're there, or at least we hear that they're there, but how will we get connected with them? And that's our biggest concern. So the program is going to run, the transit department here at Kennebec County has several vans that we use in the common carrier program. So we'll take one of those vans and have it driven either by a volunteer. We've not had a lot of luck. I've talked to a few people about driving as a straight volunteer, and the same thing that has been mentioned earlier. Folks are looking to supplement their income. It's a few years ago we had situations where people just wanted to volunteer and they didn't want to have it cost them money like a 1099 might, but they were willing to just volunteer. And I know I'm talking to the choir here about that, but now the last person who was really seriously interested just couldn't do it and not have some kind of reimbursement, something coming back. And that's not what this grant is allowing. So the fee on this is going to be $5 for a one-way, $10 for a round trip. Nobody's going to be turned down. If they don't, we'll ask them to pay what they can. We didn't go so far as trying to do some kind of a sliding scale thing on it. We just needed to keep this just workable and manageable. As we talked about this, one of the things that became clear in the areas where this service is going to be going to, they may not necessarily want to come into Mora. In those northern areas, it's they probably doctor and shop in Isle and up in Hinckley and even west of Ogilvie, very likely could doctor in Mille Lacs or even Princeton. So what we determined is that for the assisted transportation, we will provide transportation for up to 30 miles from their home. And so now we just need to get the word out there. We've got the vans, we got the program in place. We've got a couple of people that are interested. I'd sure like to just get connected with some more people. Right now, we're gonna go ahead and run it with paid staff. There's some hitches there. Most of our staff are CDL drivers and they get paid quite a bit more than somebody that might be just a regular driver. But that would require a different position, and our goal with this is to move it into these vehicles being driven by volunteers. That would be the ideal. So we got a two-pronged thing we need to do. We need to find some people that would be willing to come in and drive a county vehicle, and we need to find people who need to go someplace.
That's what we want to help with. Yeah, we're really excited. And I hate waiting. I mean, I want to get the ball going on this, you know? And maybe we
Well,
could
I
do,
think,
I was gonna say, maybe we do a radio thing again. I know you guys already
yes.
did, but we could do it
We did,
again.
and you know what? We got 2 calls right after the radio thing. So I think a radio thing would be really good. I hate to wait until midsummer, but I think, you know, we talked to a lot of people through the fair booth.
Yep.
And so
We should have the van there, a van
yeah,
there.
yep.
With
I think
some,
that's one of the biggest draws. Last year at the fair, my most favorite thing was somebody who had just recently become disabled and the next week was going to be riding the bus for the first time. And she was scared. And I was able to take her out to the bus, actually help her get on the lift, show her, run her up and down and talk to her about it. That was like the best. And so those types of things, you know, I hate it. The unfortunate truth about this, and especially in rural, super rural areas, it's one-on-one that brings somebody in and starts them using the service, and that's expensive, and it's hard to get connected. But when you do the one-on-one, you got a customer.
Yeah,
because they like what when they're not afraid of it anymore, then they like it.
yeah. And you might get family members that come and talk to you about, you know, their parents or whatever that need
Yep.
help. And yeah, the fair is a great, and like I said, having the van there is it. Yeah, so it's going to be exciting. And like I said, I really want to get the ball rolling on it as soon as possible. And we'll try to figure out how we can get started here, regardless of the grant, just to kind of do a little something more. Let's see. Well, who else is on the list here that's here? I don't know who is, well, I'm not sure if we actually figured out who was on the phone. I know that Natalie was on the phone, but she had to leave for a minute. But is there anybody else that would like to give an update? I will say that I did hear from Colette Hansen at Arrowhead. And she had sent me this maybe a month or two ago, but she had said that they currently have 3 active drivers for Pine, Chisago, and Isanti. She's a volunteer driver head at Arrowhead. So just so you know. She said she's currently working with their marketing coordinator to increase driver recruitment using social media. And once they have that implemented, they will share it with us. They're taking a different approach to recruitment in 2024. Instead of emphasizing the qualification and reimbursement, we are emphasizing the importance to the community. And then oh, Mike Moylanen's coming in. Okay. So she sent, let me see if I can share with you. Hold on a minute now. Something that she sent to me, and it's a brochure. They've got, well, maybe I can send it in another way, but she sent me a brochure of their promotion for, you know, the desire for more volunteer drivers. And then they also have a card that's like a business size card that has a QR code on it. And so all you need to do is aim your phone at that, and it takes you to the site where you can learn more about becoming a volunteer driver. So they're really working hard again on their recruitment, which I think everybody is.
Karen, I'd be really interested in getting that brochure to hand out to our volunteers for the Good Neighbors.
Okay, let me write that down. So I'll send it out. You know, I can send it out to everybody. Hang on. Brochure. Yeah, because if I show it to you here, you'll see it, but you won't be able to grab it. So it's very nice. And she might even be able to send them to you hard copies so that you'll be able to have some. But I wrote that down, so I'll get back with you on that. Let's see, does anybody else? Mike just came on. Mike, do you have anything you want to introduce yourself? Do you want to talk at all about your transit program that you have there on the Mille Lacs Band?
Yeah, Mike Moylan with Mille Lacs Band of Ojibwe, Director of Planning and Project Management. No, just kind of listening mode, Karen, here. Just kind of interested. I apologize for being late. We had kind of an emergency come up here, so.
Uh-oh.
Well, I'm glad to have you on. This has been recorded, so you can listen to it anytime or watch it anytime that you want to. We're just following along with the agenda here. And so we've gone through everybody who's here that's a service provider, I think. Michelle Lichtig, would you like to give us any updates, or were you good, or anything you want to say?
So can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay, because I had to get off my headset here for a bit. In particular, I just want to share with people that the next ENCODA meeting, and I can put it in the chat here. The next ENCODA meeting is March 27th from 1 to 3 o'clock. You're going to be hearing a discussion among the ENCODA members about sifting through and sorting out what the priorities based on some information in a survey. And I really seek that anybody who's interested in coming to that meeting, let me know so that we can get an agenda out to you. And then we can, once you get that agenda, if you would look it over and if you want to make public comment. So for instance, for some of you who are involved in this conversation, what do you think, in your public comment, maybe you could talk about what you see as your priorities. And in particular, Tim, you've been working very hard on waiver and waiver reimbursement. And that is really a real core thing of the work that all of us are doing in mobility management, is really looking at how are we going to pay for rides and waivered services and make sure that these payments and these rates are sustainable for providers. So I urge people who are interested in getting an invitation, if you haven't had it already, let me know. I know the agenda for the actual meeting will probably go out maybe Friday or Monday. And again, if you're looking at that agenda and say, there's some things I'd like to make public comment on, please let Tom Gottfried know. And so that we can get you on that public comment. The reason why I urge this is because public comment and your input is a way to provide guidance and insight for the ENCODA members. So that's sort of what I want to most share with all of you. And then the other part, it's like, oh, what the heck does Michelle do all day? But one of the things that in the work that I do is to make sure that the mobility managers are aware of all of these different types of funding sources that are coming about right now. They are bubbling up. Karen talked about the empowering small communities that bubbled up from the University of Minnesota. These are a lot of new types of funding sources, and we're starting to get some attention in the rural area, but I don't know if all of you had a chance to catch the article or the link. There are some significant issues in rural transportation that we really do need some help on. And so there was an article in the Star Tribune just the other day, and last week, Maureen Melgard Schneider, who participates in the RTCC in mid-Minnesota, is also the interim chair on the Board of Aging. And they're the ones that have oversight of those federal dollars and how they get distributed, those Title III dollars that we're talking about. But she had a radio interview with Kathy Wurzer. So Karen and I can, I'll check with Karen. I know that a lot of this stuff has already gone out to all of you, but indeed, we are now, people are starting, we all acknowledge that there's some challenges in the rural area, but now we're in a position where we can really externalize that and air it.
Wonderful. Yeah, I can send out, I gotta get that interview. I put in the chat, most of you I'm sure have this, but it's the website link to MCODA. And
I'm going to just mention something about that. We are in the process of changing our vendors for our website. So if anybody is, so we don't have that information up on that website yet, but just the most assured way to get this meeting information is to email me. And I think I'm further up in this this line of intros and emails.
On the chat, yeah.
Yeah, normally I would say, hey, this, you know, we're good to go with our website, but we're just in the throes of changing things. I just don't know how smoothly that will all go.
And if you folks aren't able to, once the meeting's over, I will have the chat and I can send that out as well. So you'll get it one way or the other with everybody's information. And anybody who came on late, if you wouldn't mind putting your contact information into the chat would be really helpful. Well, let's see. If I can go back to where we were, I'm good. If anybody has any comments or questions, now would be the time. I feel like I'm officiating at a wedding. So, and I also want to let you know that at the, you know, if you're seeing what I'm seeing on the screen, the May 9th meeting is this hybrid Zoom in-person meeting at the RDC office in Mora. It's a presentation of the NLX by MnDOT, and they're going to be there in person. There's going to be a few people there, and questions. If you've got anybody who's asked you any questions about it, or if you have questions about it, write your questions down and come to the meeting. And anybody that you represent, we want to make sure that there aren't any I don't want to, when people don't know what's going on, oftentimes they kind of make up their own stuff. And that's sort of what's been happening. And so we want to set the record straight. And this is coming from the, Air Bunny's horse's mouth. So, you know, we're going to get real true, tried and true, and real information at that meeting. And it's a great opportunity for everybody to ask what they need to know. All right. Well, short and sweet meeting. And so after that, then we will then continue on with our following meeting in, trying to think, when is the next one? And I don't have it, may be in July. So that would be after the next, when the next grant go round starts up again. And we'll just keep on going. We're just gonna keep on going. So we appreciate all of your time, and any questions or anything like that that you have, just email me or Michelle or anybody else on here. We're all open to having discussions. So appreciate your time today.
Thanks, Karen.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Karen.
Thank you.
Karen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye. Michelle, did you want to stay on and talk for a little bit?
Yeah, thanks. I did have a quick question. So I got, let me see. I gotta see if he answered anything else, something back from Maddie.
Oh, you did. Let me see it.
But it was a question to me.
Okay.
He said he didn't know why Tina wasn't involved. Okay, so I think you need both of them involved, maybe. He didn't answer my question though. See, I think, so Tina is your person for the transit providers, like TriCap and so forth. Right, because that's why she was on today, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And then I think, I don't know if Maddie is involved with the tribal transit, and that's what I have. That was the question I asked him.
you know.
Well, I know Tina used to be involved with the tribal, but I thought things got all switched around when Tori
Yeah,
left. So
But
I'm,
but she's involved with your transit providers in and of themselves. So at the very least, you should invite her as well to the meeting tomorrow. Because you aren't you trying to sort of let them know what your meeting's coming up on about funding and what you're doing?
yeah, just trying to remember what that was all about. I mean, we're trying to figure out how we can be of more assistance to them. And I'm trying to put my brain together. I get all mushy after this meeting, you know.
Oh man, tell me about it. Somebody asked me to do something after our afternoon mobility managers meeting. I said, are you kidding? I'm like a wet noodle.
I know it's too early to be a wet noodle.
Yeah. So Karen, you know what I would do is, if you have a second, do you want to pull up the email that you sent to Maddie? Because that sort of has framed his question.
Yeah, I got an awful lot of stuff on my screen right now. So let me move you up here.
And by the way, today's a type of meeting that I think it's just so good for people just to talk about what they're doing.
Yeah, I really think that we had a good discussion. People felt comfortable. Okay, so where am I here? Penny. So I'm in sent. Maddie. Okay, let's see. I'm gonna put it up here so you can see it. I'll move you down here so we can do that. Okay, there we go. Can you see it?
Yeah. Wait, no. Hang on a second. Are you trying to share something?
Yeah. Okay. No, wait a minute now. I don't even know where I don't know where my little bar is anymore that show. Oh, there it is. All right. Let's see. Let me see what's going on here. Oh, yeah. Sorry. It's not. Okay. Up. Okay. Now I want to reshare. Okay. Yeah, there's the email. It's a pretty can you see Tina's calendar to see if she's busy at this time?
Hey, I know all. Okay, hang on.
Because I could make some changes to this and forward it to her.
Okay, hang on a second. Okay, we're looking at this. Just going here. I'm sorry, right in the middle of your meeting, I got a headache, and I think it's in part because they're literally drilling on our building.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, because they're doing tuck pointing, so they're just, and this is like going to be my life for the summer.
Well, get your headphones on and you won't hear it.
Oh, that doesn't, that didn't even help, but sorry. So I'm a little bit slower than I'd like to be. Let me see, I'm getting to her. Here we go. Okay. Huh. What time did we say this meeting was going to be? 10?
Yeah.
Huh. From 9:30. Well, yeah, 10 o'clock. 10 o'clock works for her.
Excellent. All right, so I'm just going to forward this to her. She'll see the information that we wrote to Maddie, and I'm just going to say I would like to invite you as well. Okay, I'll take care of that when we get off the phone.
Okay.
Otherwise, I've got a guy coming at 10:30 to look. Oh God, I'm gonna have to spend a whole bunch of money on this house, and I just like I live very close to the water, and I have to make sure that my drainage works well here. And I live at the bottom of a hill, and then it leads right out to the lake, right? So the hill, my road is gravel. And so the driveway is asphalt and my pad around my house is this huge concrete pad. Looks like a parking lot, but in any case, whatever. So what's happening is some of the concrete is sinking. So I'm gonna have to have him come out and dig up some of the concrete, redo the French drain, and then I gotta redo the driveway.
You know, here's the thing, Karen, like right now, you know, they're tuck pointing our condo building and typically we have pretty strong reserves. So, you know, but this is like, this is a $3 million project. So we just had to write out a big check, right? You know, for our thing, huge. And probably for half that money, I've been delaying redoing the second bedroom here, right? You know, I wanted to put in a Murphy bed and we do these things and it's not like, hey, come over and look at my beautiful redone room. It's just like, hey, come and look at my new septic tank. Hey, come look at my tuck pointing, you know? I mean,
maintenance.
I mean, we don't mind spending money and you have to do it on your infrastructure of your home, but you're just like, you don't feel like you have a lot to show for it.
I know. Well, this has to be done because
oh, you do. You know, drainage, gutters and drainage is just like a really big deal. And to make sure you get it right, it's a big deal.
Yeah. And I think this is probably going to cost me close to $20,000. And it's like, where is that money coming from? Am I going to put that on a credit card? I mean, I don't want to take out a loan because the interest rates are so high. And I was thinking maybe I could do it on a credit card and then switch it over to a 0% interest credit card. I don't know.
Oh gosh, you know, those credit card things though,
No.
there's no such thing when they say that. I don't believe that there's anything when they say, well, we're going to give it to you at a low rate or something like that on a credit card.
Well, I'll tell you, I did switch 3 credit cards into one and it's 0% interest for 18 months. So if I can get that paid off, you know, this big hunk paid off in 18 months, but then after that, of course, it goes up to 24% or whatever it is. But I'm keeping track, of course, and then maybe we'll switch it to another one. It's like I just try to, trying to make ends meet and home ownership when you live alone, you know, it's just hard to, anyway, I guess I have to think of it as an investment because it has to be done. If I ever die or sell my house, this has to be done. And that'll increase the value of the house or at least not decrease it, you know.
I know. All right. Well, you and I are talking about almost the same amount of outlay.
Oh God,
it's been horrible.
Yeah.
And all I can do is say, shrug my shoulders, say, thank God we're healthy and we can work.
Right. Well, I mean, I was ready to retire in a couple of years. I don't know that I ever will be able to.
Yeah, it's just, yeah. I mean, it just keeps going on. I feel bad for you, you know, and all of these things, like even like our tuck pointing job, if we would have done it pre-COVID, it probably would have been half the cost.
Oh.
And I'm sure it's the same thing with your deal, you know, things would have been a lot cheaper, but it is what it is. And yeah.
What's interesting up here too, I mean, the guy's supposed to show up at 10:30 and we call it the 218 mentality. That's the area code up here. And these people have a different way of thinking. They'll either show up early, they'll show up tomorrow. You know, it's more relaxed, I guess, but it's also, you can't count on them. So I'm hoping a guy comes. And I hope he doesn't show up at 1 o'clock when we're in our mobility meeting, you know. I was afraid he was going to come while I was here and I'd have all this happening or doing this meeting. So anyway, everything worked out so far so good, but I appreciate the updates that you did. And I wanted to also ask if you knew, because I didn't get a chance to ask Natalie, this Title III grant that Kanabec County got, what is that supposed to do? Was that covering cost of drivers, or do you know?
So that what they probably did is that it's covering the cost of the actual transportation, which you could actually ask her. So what Title III dollars allow is Title III dollars are used for people who are not necessarily in the poverty line, but they're people that are slightly above that. And you don't, when you use Title III, people who use Title III offerings don't necessarily have to pay for it, but what you have to do as a provider is highly suggest a donation. You cannot say, hey, we're going to charge you. So I used to be in charge of a Title III chore program where we would do lawn mowing and house fix-ups and stuff. And we could never ask people to pay for it, but we could suggest a donation. So it's covering that cost and probably some of the operations costs. I'm not exactly sure what they asked for in their Title III grant, but you could, I mean, that's public knowledge. I mean, you can ask, you can ask how much it was for and how long it's for. Now, my understanding is these Title III dollars that were just released are released every 5 years. So my question is, are you guys good to go for 5 years?
I thought it was only till the end of the year. But that's
Okay.
a good question.
Yeah.
I think so. It's a pilot program and they haven't really even gotten it off the ground. And I really can't do much because I don't have the dollars for it. Although getting into the radio station and getting her on there, that would work. So, you know, social media is free unless we, you know, bump it.
Yeah, I think with I think it's to find out maybe they're holding back some Title III dollars that they could, meaning they being the Area Agency on Aging, that they could give out if this pilot goes well. So that's a whole nother Natalie discussion.
Okay. Okay.
I think what we're starting to see, Karen, and it's something maybe we could, you know, when you talk among your other RTCCs or you talk at meetings, we are now seeing a situation where people are able to get the vehicle, but they don't know how to launch it.
Yeah.
And that's it's becoming very clear that that's becoming a partnership that the RTCCs are fulfilling.
Yeah. It's huge. I mean, I'm really surprised that people, well, you know, like I said, what we'll be doing is huge for them, and putting up a couple billboards is a plan, and doing a lot with the newspapers and putting inserts into the different bills or whatever. I mean, ECRTCC won't allow us to put anything into their bills. But we could do it through the Scotsman and to the newspaper. We could do it at the grocery store. We've done all that before. So we're just gonna have to find out where these people go. And,
Yeah.
And then we could want to do a mailing as well, direct mail to each household, a postcard. But we've got to get this logo done. And I also want to mark that vehicle with a logo. And I know that Helen is really excited about it, but it's like, if you're driving around, this is your perfect opportunity to tell people who you are, you know, what you're doing. So we've got a logo kind of going, but we want to have a professional, have Sandy look at it and make sure that it's really good. So
yeah. Well, I'll let you get back to Tina. It was great that she was at this meeting, that she could make it.
Yeah, it was good that she was there. I'll let her know that we appreciated that. Well, thank you, and we'll see you at 1 o'clock.
Yep. Take care.
Bye. You too. Bye.